that's preparing for live stream. We are live on the Book of Basics. Hello, 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 everybody. Like when you bird.
I do like that. Spread your wings, fly.
Let me come closer so you can see it. Hopefully you can see like there's a little bit of gold in there too.
Oh yeah. Ooh, is there like blue in it too?
No, it might be just the light shining off.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
The camera is not the greatest, but yeah, I got it yesterday because I wanted to have a crow.
Okay.
I've been learning quite a bit about crows. They used to make me uncomfortable because they always are associated with a witch. And since I've decided that I am ready to embrace that side of me, as I believe most of us have, I started looking into certain things that speak up to me, that show up in my life. The other day there was a crow. The other day was actually yesterday. There was a crow that flew in our backyard, and I was in my bedroom with my daughter. She was on the bed, and I was standing, and it's standing on this on the gazebo fence or whatever it's called. So it's standing on top there, and I start talking to it through the window. I don't know if they can hear or not, but I'm like, I know they can see and they can understand what we're saying.
Crows.
So I started walking towards it and talking. And only when Bahidi came beside me on the bed is when the crow was like, whoa, peace out, I'm gone.
Right. Yeah, and crows, what's cool about crows is they'll recognize you. They'll pick up.
Yeah, they recognize faces.
On you. And because
smells, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's these two crows that hang around my house and then also go by the school that's down the street, and I'll talk to them. And I notice like sometimes, not now because of the snow as much, but during the summer they'll come out and I feel like they'll like fly where I'm walking, like like walk with me. I'm like, hello, nice to see you again.
Hello, birdie.
Yeah.
Ain't you cute?
Right.
Okay, so hello, everybody. Now for the recording, we're saying hello again. Today we wanted to talk about, I wanted you, really the intent behind the topic today was for you guys to get more familiar with Bethany's business and what realm she is living in. And the realm is the tattoo realm, the art form, the permanent or art form that can also be covered up, so it's not necessarily permanent either, art form that we put in our bodies. So first off, I want to start off with asking Bethany a question. Do you know how many tattoos do you have? And if you have the number, what is that number?
I do not know how many I have. I have so many, and they've all like kind of gone into one. So I stopped counting. But at one point,
when did you stop counting?
When I was like at 35. Yeah. And once I started to like get a sleeve more, that's when I just was like, well, is it one tattoo or is it like a bunch of different tattoos? So yeah, I really don't know how many tattoos I have. And then if you want, like, there's like random like little bugs on this side of my arm. It's hard to see. This is a chrysanthemum, so that's Uriah's flower. And then on I'm like, how do I show this one? Okay, so it's a Venus flytrap, and there's some flies around it, and there's like a random bug here. There's a random bug right up in here. Yeah, and I have this random rabbit that's biting into a carrot, all sinister, and the carrot's screaming. I have so many random tattoos that you have to like look at them, and I get a lot of people that will be like looking at me, and I'll be like, what? Like, what do you want? And I'm like, my tattoos. Okay.
You want to see the canvas.
Yeah.
What's on the canvas.
And that's one thing for me. Like when I got my tattoos, I wanted something different that no one else had.
Me too.
And that's where a lot of my tattoos came from. And a lot of them came from Brian drawing something and then, and for those that don't know, Brian is my husband. He's the tattoo artist for our shop. I am behind the scenes. I do all the administrative work. I pay, make sure all the bills are paid. I do the accounting, the bookkeeping. I schedule consultations. I do all the behind the scenes stuff while he does the more forward things.
And what's the name of the shop, and where is it?
Our shop's called Bethany Briggs Iron Tiger Tattoos, and it is in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
I'll be going there one day. I was actually planning on going there in June when the lockdowns happened. And so
it didn't happen.
Yeah. So I'm also using this video as inspiration for my next art piece, which is going on this arm. Nice. Right. And people are like, well, why don't you put on the other one? I'm like, no, I say this one for a reason. So that's why those of you that are wanting to get a tattoo, tell me where is it that you're wanting to get it? Because guaranteed there's already a spot that you are thinking about that you want to cover up or bring it back, bring it to life, bring out your imagination. And I also believe that you're saying that your tattoos are random, but I don't believe in randomness. I believe that everything is there for a reason. Like the rabbit, when you were talking about it, one day, or you actually one day, is like, oh, Yana, this rabbit tattoo that I have is there for a reason. Yeah. It's my spirit animal.
Yeah.
And then we had a conversation around that. So everything that we put on ourselves has reason behind it.
Yeah, that is a good point. Because I do have a few that do have meaning, and then I guess they all have meaning. But I have a tattoo on my leg, and it says, "If my body is a temple, why not paint the walls?" Now, when I first got this,
I like it.
Yeah, when I first got this was a little rebellion to my mother because she wasn't liking that I was getting a bunch of tattoos, and she's like, "Oh, you're beautiful without them," and I'm like, well, I'm going to get this tattoo then. If my body's a temple, why not paint the walls? And that's why I have so many tattoos, because I like to wear my art on my body instead of putting it on the walls. Now, I do have a lot of pictures on my walls and art, but I like being able to walk around with my art and knowing it's not going anywhere. It's staying here no matter what. And so that was a big thing for me getting my tattoos, and also expression. Having more expression, and also dating a tattoo artist, that helped. And I'm like, you're so lucky. And I'm like, yeah, I am lucky, because not a lot of people have that opportunity to get a tattoo whenever you want. Now, when Brian first started tattooing, I got tattooed more, but as we've gotten older and we have the tattoo shop, I don't have as a strong desire to get tattooed anymore as I did, because once upon a time, I was like, I want to be head to toe, well, not head probably, but neck to toe, just full of tattoos. And I got to a certain point where I got my sleeves, I have a chest piece, I have some stuff on my legs, but that's kind of where it ended. And Brian will be like, let me tattoo you, and I'm like, I just don't have that strong desire. But I used to, I got all of my tattoos in a 10-year period. So from when me and Brian started dating to now, it's been 10 years, and that's how long it's taken. And there's been times where it's like a year before that I don't get a tattoo. But in the beginning, I was getting tattooed a lot, but it also helped my husband learn. So I was, as we call myself, his walking portfolio, because it's helped a lot with business as well. And I like to call myself his personal tattoo model as well, because all of the tattoos on my body, except for one, which is back here, he's done all of my tattoos. And I haven't let anyone else really tattoo me before. And I've had a lot of Brian's friends that are tattoo artists be like, well, I didn't know what to get you for your birthday, so I just tattooed Brian. Because I'm like, well, yeah, I don't want you to tattoo me, no offense, but I'm good. Yeah.
I see. I think, I believe that we meet the people that we need and that need us, and we all have one person in a relationship or both. Actually, more often than not, it's both people that are that have some kind of a job that somebody else will say, oh, I wish my husband did that or my wife did that, right?
Yeah.
um for us, my husband is a mechanic, so he fixes our cars. I don't have to. Like, I've never brought my car to a mechanic because
He knows how to do it. That's
I live
cool.
with one.
Yeah.
And he takes it himself. Yeah, all of that stuff. So I don't have to worry about it. And then, like, we always kind of want what we don't have, but we can't have a partner who is an incredible tattoo artist, is a mechanic, is a doctor, hopefully not a pharmacist. That's a different kind of a drug dealer that you
Right.
don't
Yeah.
want. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and a chef and a cleaner. Like, we want it all. And I mean, there are ways of having it all, but not you having to do it. You just need to make sure that you can afford it and get yourself to that place where you can afford it. And if you believe that it's not possible, I would love to have a conversation with you and prove to you that it is,
Yeah.
right?
Anything possible. So you set
Right.
your
And the proof does not necessarily have to come from me. Proof is over there on the internets, the infinite of the internets.
right.
So don't believe me. Don't talk to me. Go do your research. But seriously, so my next question for you is, I know for parents, for example, like, I'm a parent, and when my kids going to get tattoos, because guaranteed they're gonna want one, and if not, it's their choice. I'm not gonna say no, and I'm not gonna encourage them to do it. But if they're going to do it, I have to get it together.
Yeah.
It's matching one way or another.
Yeah.
But the safety of it, the how safe is the ink? Because I mean, there are different methods of tattoos. There's going back to like the tribal tattoos, which are a lot more painful, and they're done by literally by hand. Um,
Yeah.
and then I think that I don't know if there's too many in between. I don't know much about tattoos, but I know there's the tribal one,
Mhm.
the ancient way of doing it with the ink. I don't know how safe that is and how safe the ink is versus the needle and pen that, everybody, including myself, when I went to get a tattoo, we always, like, our imagination gets the best and the worst of us. So, you know, knowing that you get a tattoo with a needle, picturing like this needle that is really putting through the spinal for the epidurals.
Oh, right.
I said no to that, right? This is
Right.
like too
No.
close. But
Right. Well, so for safety now, the best thing to do is to do your research on the artist you want. Make sure the artist aligns with you. Make sure they have a shop. It also, don't get tattooed at
how do
home.
you make sure that they have a clean shop?
Well, you can go in, and if they have their bloodborne pathogens certificate, if there's
You ask for it?
yeah, you can ask for it. Yep. And a lot of the times tattoo artists will have them in the lobby. Like in our shop, we have the bloodborne pathogen in the lobby. We have our business license in there, so you're getting that we've been inspected by the health department. And also just seeing how it looks. Like, when you walk into it, does it smell clean? Does it smell, like dirty? Or is there a lot of like cigarette smell? Or is there a lot of dirt everywhere? Is there cobwebs? You want to look to see. For our shop, we keep it like a medical facility. We use bleach to mop the floors. We clean everything. We use Maticide, which is a very high powered cleaner to clean the surfaces. So you want to like talk to the artist and figure out what they do on the inside. And are they using disposable like cartridges, or are they using stuff where they has to be sterilized in an autoclave? We are all disposable at our shop, because really with that stuff that you have to sterilize, there's a lot of room for error. If you don't clean the barrel correctly with needles, you never reuse needles. And if you have an artist that's going to reuse a needle, I definitely recommend rethinking that artist, because that is how you spread God knows what.
I've heard of shops
Yeah.
being closed, of
Yes.
God knows what being spread, everything under the umbrella.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really like, and the knowledge of the artist as well. Like, do they have a lot of knowledge with cleanliness? What is their aftercare procedures? Like for us, we just started doing this a couple, maybe like 5-6 months ago, where Brian will spray, like it's like a liquid bandage over your tattoo. And there's other forms of it, but this is what we found to be the safest. There's this other one where I can't think of what it's called, but it's kind of like a plastic sheet that they put over your tattoo, and then after so long it comes off. But there's a lot of room for error with it, because you can get stuff underneath it, if it's not put on properly, or if you take it off improperly, you're going to pull out some of the ink on it. Now with the liquid bandage we use for aftercare, it flakes off on its own. So so from the first couple days, it flakes off in like 3 to 4 days. So you don't even really, like, you still want to wash it, but no outside contaminants are going to touch your wound that's healing. Because when you get tattooed, another thing is the needle, like how deep are you going? Now you only want to go through the epidermis and the dermis. You're going to go in between those 2 layers of skin, which is on the top. Now, if you go deeper than that, you're going to risk a blowout. You're going to risk infection.
What's a blowout?
A blowout is when the needle is too deep into the skin, and then it causes the ink to like kind of like blow up inside your skin. So people will get like where outside of the line, there's like maybe a little like blackish blue like tint on the outside. And also when the artist goes too deep, it's going to scab really bad. And that scab is going to affect the healing process as well. So you want to make sure you have a professional tattoo artist. Don't go to anyone at their house. That is so unsanitary. You don't know what they did on their table right before you got there. You don't know what kind of germs are around there. If you're in a tattoo shop, at least you know there's some sort of health standard that needs to be followed in order to have the shop with the health.
Kind of makes me think of like surgery.
Yeah.
You can go and have surgery done in like in movies, how I don't know what movies right now, but I know I've seen where it's like done in the middle of like a dirty place, dirty basement. It's all dusty. Or do you go to a hospital where it's all clean and sanitized and everybody's gloved up and covered up, right?
Yes, and that's what you want. You want almost, it's mimicking like a doctor's office or like a hospital room. Like your procedure room is clean, sanitized. And it's really easy to do, but there's some artists that don't take the time to clean. And that's why for us, we have my brother-in-law he's a shop manager, and he does all that cleaning. He mops at the end of the day, make sure the trash is out. He cleans the spot up afterwards. And it's also the way the artists do needle disposal. That's something you could ask about what they do. Here in the United States, we have sharps. And I think there's other programs you can do, but it's a certain container that you put the used needle in. And then when it's full, you send it back to that company. And it's the biohazard thing to where
like a hospital.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing. Like when you get a shot at the hospital, they put that needle inside of one of those sharps container. Well, we do the same thing. And I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but a tattoo shop that is at the standard or above the standard is going to have that sharps container. And it's going to and you could even ask to see our certificate with the state for hazardous waste removal. You can see that the Sharps like certificate that we get. You can ask all these things. You can ask for like we have this like black book that has all the important information. So if anyone had a question about how we do things, what we use, who's the artist, you know, like we have it right there and we can show you. And that is the best thing, to be very transparent with your customer, with the client, to be upfront and to let them know what they're going to endure before they do it. And that makes more comfortable. Being more personable is another thing. Being in the tattoo industry, I've seen a lot of tattoo artists where you walk into the tattoo shop and it's like, what do you want? And you're like, what do you mean? If you come into our shop, we're going to do a consultation. And I find that this is like, and there's other shops that do the same thing. And I find these to be the best shops where you go in, you schedule a consultation, you go in, you talk about your idea, you get to know the artist, and then you schedule your tattoo appointment with a deposit to secure your day. And I've found that to be the best way, as because then you're going to learn about your artist. You're going to see him or her in person, and you're gonna be like, ooh, do I like this person? Do I want this person to even tattoo me? And that's what we also pride ourselves in, our customer service, like taking care of someone, making them feel important. Because when you're getting a tattoo, a lot of the times there's meaning behind it. You know, a lot of people get memorial tattoos, or they had a big growth experience with their personal growth and development, and now they want to express that with a tattoo on their body. Or we've had it where people self-harm and they have a lot of the scars. And Brian, he does a lot of like cover-ups with that, which I love that, because all the confidence you're putting back into that person. I've seen a lot of people leave where they're like, oh, you know, my arm, like they're embarrassed about, you know, they have cutting scars and they're embarrassed about it. And then they leave with a tattoo and they just light up because my husband's changed their life, really has built up their confidence. And that's another thing with getting a tattoo. It's like, what is your reason behind it? What is your why? What is your intention? Yeah. A lot of the times, you know, with my husband, he does cover-ups, and there's a lot of the times he does a tattoo cover-up where, oh, they got this 10, 15 years ago. And, you know, it was a spur of the moment thing, instead of the person doing their research and really deciding, okay, this is what I want on my body for the rest of my life. They just do that split decision. Oh, I want this. Give me that flash piece.
I have one of those.
Yeah, I do too. You know, I've been there, definitely. I know how
I think it's part of the process, and it's important for us to really truly understand why we put this artwork on us. Because you started talking about why people get tattoos, because that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Why do we get them? And we get them for many different reasons.
Right.
Many different reasons. For at the end of the day, the end goal and the end result that all of us are hoping for a tattoo that we walk out is more confidence.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing that I've told Brian that I'm like super like proud of him for doing. It's like he gives so many people their confidence back. There's been like guys that they have like a tattoo that they're so embarrassed about it, and Brian covers it and they're like, oh my god, I can wear a shirt, I can take my shirt off when I go swimming now, you know. And same
thing with hidden girls.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And if you find, and there's so many artists out in the world that do the same thing as my husband. And it's really just do your research. Another thing is, how long have they been tattooing for? There are some people that have been tattooing for only a couple of years, and they're amazing artists, but a lot of the times they're artists that aren't the best. And you can find someone that's going to give you what you're wanting, what you're really desiring. And it's good to see the length of how long they've been practicing tattooing. because it over, practice makes progress and it takes
Yeah.
time to get to that point. But,
That's why I wanted to ask, why did you stop? Because if your husband has been practicing on you, his
yeah,
artwork, and over the years, since the first tattoo to the one that he is doing today,
right.
he's become better.
Right.
So why not allow him to add his talent onto you now? Because he's become a much better artist since then.
Well, see, I have. And that's how I got my arm sleeves. I got my sleeves on my arms, and that's where it was like, oh, I got my arm sleeves. What do I do now? And also, part of it is because of how busy he is. I would rather spend time with my family than going to the tattoo shop and getting a tattoo. He works a lot already, and I don't know if it's like more like feeling bad, not necessarily feeling bad, but it's like, well, you're working so much, like I don't want to, have add on to your work schedule. And that's some things that I definitely should work through, because there's some shame and guilt there. I do feel that now that I'm talking about it a little bit more, because I mean, why am I denying his work now that he's so much better? Because he's been tattooing, in March will be 10 years, 11 years, no, 10, 11 years.
Longer than 10, because you said it took you 10 years to get all the tattoos that you have.
Well, he started tattooing a little bit before we started dating, so it wasn't. Yeah, so he had started, which, funny story, when we first started dating, he told me that he was a much more talented tattoo artist than he actually was. And I was just like, oh yes, like, this is so cool. I got a boyfriend that does tattoos. And then, like, to find out that he had lied to me about, how many tattoos he's done. But he's better. He's developed more and more, because he's been doing it for so long. But it's a funny little
faking it until he made it.
Yeah, but when we first started dating, he would be like, oh yeah, I've been tattooing for like a year, and then to later find out that he'd only been tattooing about four months maybe before we started dating. But I trusted him, and a lot of the work that he's done on me back then, he has covered, he's fixed it up since then. And another thing to go to, like, why don't I get tattooed, is because they hurt, and I just don't want the pain, and I'm very active, and the only spots I really have left are like my back, my stomach, and my legs. And those are kind of the parts that hurt the most. So,
I know. My face was just smiling and knowing that you're going to be talking about what's left. It's really just the most painful ones.
Yes.
And those are the ones that are easier to take and deal with when we're younger.
Yes. Yeah. Now it's kind of like, I don't know if I want to deal with that. But with me also, tattooing is I used to use it as a way to release before I knew a lot of my healthy coping mechanisms to release and to work through stuff. When I got a lot of tattoos, I was dealing with a lot of migraines, and getting the pain somewhere else would take away from the migraine. So it was like, and it was like a meditation in a sense, because you have to breathe through it. And to think about it now, it's really where I started my meditation journey. I just haven't really put those dots till right now. So thank you for that. But yeah, so I don't know why I don't get tattooed more often, but I think it's mainly, I value our family time. Back when I got a lot of tattoos, we didn't have Uriah. So, it was more open-ended. I was at the tattoo shop all the time, hanging out. When I wasn't working, I was at the tattoo shop, hanging out with everyone. So it'd be like, oh, I want a tattoo. Let's tattoo you, type thing. And things have changed. But a lot of the times now I get a tattoo as a present. He'll be like, what do you want for your birthday? A tattoo. So yeah, he has it easy, he just can tattoo me for a present.
Well, my husband doesn't get to fix my car for my birthday. So he definitely does have it easy.
Yeah. So and I used to get that stigma. Like a lot of people be like, oh, well, you're dating a tattoo artist. You can get tattooed whenever you want. And that's not really the case, because when you have a tattoo artist, like boyfriend or husband, that does it professionally, they're not going to have a lot of time to just tattoo you anymore. Like it used to be when he was apprenticing, he was needing all that practice. So I got tattooed most in the first like 4 or 5 years that we were together. And then slowly started just like, oh, once a year, twice a year, as time went on. So it's
That's very, very true for pretty much all jobs. It's like,
right.
if it's like, oh, you're so lucky, your wife is a cleaning lady. No, my house is never clean. Oh, you're so lucky you have well, for me, I am, because our cars are always good. Like
Yeah.
he hears something or feels something, and I'm like, huh, what are you talking? Because he's trained,
Right.
like, to it's his like patient that he's driving in, and he's always diagnosing it.
Okay.
Um, but for example, one of my friends, her husband is in demolition, in construction. Oh, great! So he does things around the house? No. She's been waiting to get the basement done for like I think 5 years, and she started
Mm,
doing it herself.
yeah.
Right? So, and a lot of us like, oh, your wife or your husband is a hairdresser. You get haircut all the time. Yeah, when she's not tired, right? Because when we are doing something all the time, the last thing we want to do is do the same thing when we come home. Because when we come home, we just want to be away from that. And it's really
Exactly.
difficult when you build a new business because you are working from home and you can't get away, and finding that
Yeah.
balance that helps you to switch from one to the other,
Right.
challenging. But another question I had for you is like simple care. So somebody goes to get a tattoo, because the reason why I want to ask is, when I went and got a tattoo, one of the things I was really, really anxious about is leaving the thing on. It was like the plasticky thing that you
Yeah.
put on, leaving it on for too long, because one of the things that they said, that the ink can leak and spread if it's too moist. And I'm like, oh my god, and if it's too dry, it's this. And I'm like, how do I take care of it so it doesn't expand and doesn't shrink, and it comes out the way that it's supposed to come out,
Right. Now
right?
that's one reason why we don't use that method of aftercare. That's why the one I was telling you about, it's what we use is that it's like a spray. It's the second skin that we put
That's why I
over
got
it.
excited of that. I was like,
Yeah, because it's like completely covered. You don't have to worry about that plastic bandage. It starts with a T. I can't think of Trazid. No, that's not. It'll come to
almost
me.
like, sounds like it's a surgical one as well.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of people like in the medical industry use it for burns. They put it over burn mark, like to as that second skin on it. But for aftercare, if your artist doesn't do what we do, where it's like the spray that it's the second skin, the liquid bandage, that's what we use. A lot of the time, what tattoo artists will do is they'll send you home with an aftercare sheet, and it'll tell you, what to use. So you don't want to use Vaseline. You want to use like Aquaphor. Some people use A&D. It's like the stuff for like that be used for babies' diaper rash or whatever. It's similar stuff. I've had issues with A&D where it's like caused me to break out. So it really is up to your body. Aquaphor has been the best one that I haven't really heard of anyone having problems with. And there's so many other aftercares. We actually make our own. We call it Pigment Pop. And what ours is an all natural, it's like a balm. So we use mango butter, shea butter, coconut oil, and then we put some essential oils in it, and we keep it very natural. And so you want to keep it, like, you don't want to have a fragrance, because the fragrance will sometimes irritate your skin, because it's an open wound that you have on your arm. The feeling of a tattoo after you get it is similar to a sunburn. It's It's a very similar to that same feeling, but it doesn't have the same properties of like of a sunburn actually, but it's very similar to that. So you just want to make sure the stuff for that you use for aftercare isn't going to damage your ink. It's not going to cause any irritation, because once you get some irritation on that open wound, it's rough. It's hard to stop. And then also for the soap, you want to wash it with soap, in an antibacterial soap. We use Dial, but there's other ones you can use, and you don't want to have fragrance in it. You want to stay away from all fragrance, and that goes for lotion. But I've noticed with lotion, it's not really good to put it on that open wound. So starting out with like an Aquaphor type thing is the best for an aftercare, unless you get an artist that uses the sheets, or like what we use with the spray. So it just depends. And you can ask the artist before you get tattooed, like if they do a consultation, or you can even just ask them in general, like, what is your aftercare? What does it look like? You want to ask as many questions, get all those questions out of your mind, so you don't have wonder, because that's what the artist is there for, is to help you to get out of that wonder. Oh, what is this going to be like? What are we going to do after this? To give you your answers so you feel comfortable and ready to go, because it's a procedure. So you want to be ready, and you also want to keep it free from pet hair as well, because pet hair will cause infection. Yeah, Ramsey made me think of that one. You want to keep your bedding clean. You want to use a towel, like when you after it's healing, you'll notice that it gets itchy. You don't want to scratch it. What we always say is to pat it, because when you scratch it, you can potentially remove the
lick it with the cat.
Yeah. But yeah, you just want to keep it as clean as possible. It's an open wound, and that's something you got to remember is, anything that gets in there, it's going to cause an infection. And there's been cases where people don't keep their stuff clean, and the ink comes out, it fades. You have to go to the doctors to get antibiotics if you're not taking care of it properly. So you want to treat it as like a cut on your arm that you get. You want to clean it every day, and some people don't, and they have good healing experiences, but oftentimes there's going to be infection, and that's what you want to avoid, because that's the way that you keep your ink as vibrant as I have mine. A lot of this stuff has been done a couple of years ago, and people always are telling me, like, when did you get that done? And I'll be like, a couple of years ago. And they're like, wow, the color's so vibrant. I haven't seen that. Well, take care of your tattoos. Go to an artist that knows what they're doing, and you're going to see good results. Like with Brian's tattooing, when it heals, they never scab. There might be a couple spots depending how much shading he had to do, but there shouldn't be a big scab on it. And if there is, then your tattoo artist isn't as experienced as they say they are. Because
I had a scab on one of mine.
Yeah.
One of my hearts that I have, and a pink one, I had a scab over here. Because this is one tattoo that I got, and this was the a separate one. This one is two hearts into one.
Oh, nice.
And it kind of blended. Right?
Yeah.
The dots are not so much dots anymore. So in
And
some
that
areas,
does happen. Yeah, over time, ink does tend to come out. That's just natural. Your body, it's a foreign thing in your body, and your body is going to try to push it out. But if it's in the correct spot between the epidermis and the dermis, there isn't going to be as much as, the ink leaking out, or, and also if you get that scab, it could also mean that they went too deep, or they overworked an area. So there's sometimes you'll get an artist where they want you to go in for the outline and then do the shading, because it heals better that way as well, because you're not getting the overworkedness of it.
Yeah, all of mine are done by the same person, and pretty much all of them, you can see that the ink has spread a little bit. Like with the colored ones, you don't see it as much, because the color kind of blends in more into the skin.
Yeah.
But the ones that are in black, I could see like the ink has spread. So one that I have on my ankle, which was my very first one, it's the baby tiger with the names of the twin girls that we lost in the wings.
Yeah.
And like the eyes are not the same as they were.
Yeah.
The lines are not the same. And it's like it has been only 13 years.
Yeah. Well, after so
I mean,
long,
yeah, it's a
though,
lot, but still, it's
yeah,
like
because
you
I
can't even
mean,
really fix it.
right, yeah, like with your body, it's always growing, and it's like going through different processes. So stuff's gonna happen over time to the work, but I don't know. I've had, this one's been around 5 years. This purple one here,
It
and this
looks to me, it
green
looks brand
here.
new, and this is a bad quality camera.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So,
it was not that great.
right, and like this stuff on this arm, this is from, I want to say, like 8 years ago. So if it's done properly, it's going to stay for a long time. And that's why I say research your artists, make sure that they have the background,
Yeah,
they
I
have the
did.
skill sets.
I
Yeah.
was too polite and too
Mhm.
like I came in and she was like the only one that was available and she was the only one who was a woman. And I
Right.
knew she was new and I was like, okay, go ahead. I
Yeah.
trust you. Right? That's like one of the questions I had. What do you do with people pleasers? And I can respond to that because I was one of those. And now knowing what I know now, the first thing you gotta do is you gotta go in and talk to the artist. Get comfortable being uncomfortable and asking these questions. Don't feel like you're interrogating them or trying to get them in trouble because if the artist feels like, to me, knowing and understanding energy, if they feel like they like, oh, you come in and you're asking me proof that I am a good shop owner, how dare you?
Right.
Walk out, go
Yeah.
somewhere else, because that's how they're going to treat your tattoo as well. That's how they're going to treat you, and you do not want that. Because when people tell you who they are, believe them. You go and you check out the tattoo artist, this is what you want. When Bethany, you were talking about being personable, that is what I search for with anyone that
Right.
I want to work with or collaborate with. I need that personability piece. I need to feel safe in the way that I would feel safe with that person is if they are open
Yeah.
to pretty much any conversation.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
And that's, yeah. And that's honestly, that's the best thing to do. And with being with Brian for so long, I've seen all the different kind of ways he's been a tattoo artist and how he's grown, expanded to the place where he's at now. And also a thing is like, what's their specialty? If you go to an artist that, like with Brian, his specialty is watercolor, cover-ups, black, gray realism. And if you're going to, let's say you want like a geometrical tattoo, now Brian's not going to be the best artist for you because it's not a specialty. So that another thing is to figure out what the artist that you're going to, what their specialty is, and if it's aligning with the tattoo you want. Because if you go into a different art, and I've seen this with a lot of cover-ups, this person, well, I wanted this, but they gave me this. Well, what kind of artists were they? Was that their specialty, or you're just going to anyone because they're cheap, or they have a deal that day, or they're an apprentice learning. And for me, I mean, it's a little different the way I did things. I went to someone that was an apprentice and was learning, but I fell in love with him, and I'm married to him now. So
well, I
but
had trusted my car with a mechanic. He was also new. Like he
yeah.
was only a mechanic without lying to me. Sorry.
No, you're
He
fine.
lied about other things, but that's
Yeah.
okay. We all gotta embellish the truth. We gotta make it bigger than it actually is because it is also like it's food for the ego and it's food for continuing to go forward towards that. So we do have to make ourselves come across as better than we believe we are. Like it's fake it until you make it type of a thing. So my
Right.
husband, he was fixing cars for about a year when I met him, and then he started fixing our cars,
Yeah.
and from day one I trusted him without hesitation, because I knew, like, even if he, the way I always have been is, and now I see the value of that because I didn't have to learn that, is that I trust people to do their job even if they're brand new, knowing that they might mess up,
Yeah.
but they will figure it out, right?
Right.
They will fix and figure it out, that there is no need for me to stress out and worry about it and think of what ifs and, all that kind of stuff, that it's going to get done and it'll be fine. And
Yeah.
my job is really to show them that I trust them,
Exactly.
and the rest is history, so to speak. Right?
Yeah, and that's like with finding a tattoo artist. Trust them. If they're doing good work and they're checking all the boxes that you're looking for, then trust that artist. With the work. For me, I was like his cheerleader when he was learning. I was that person that kept him going. And
Figure.
he'll even say this, like, without me coming into his life, he didn't know if he would even be a tattoo artist, because there would be times where he would get so down and not want to tattoo anymore. And I'd be like, well, why are you going to stop now? Like, just keep going. Like, I was his sugar mama for a little bit, where I worked 60, 70 hours a week while he was learning how to tattoo. And then it came to the point where we moved here to Michigan and things changed, where he became the breadwinner. He took care of me. I was able to go to school, and we had our son, and it was like, he had his school time, and then it was my time to, like, do my learning and growing and stuff. So our journey has been really amazing, and you're not going to always find what I had, with an artist, if you're dating an artist, or if you're wanting to date an artist, because not a lot people in the tattoo industry aren't always the nicest. And I've met a lot. And there are some people that are really nice, and there's some people that are creeps, where they're hitting on women and when they're getting tattooed. Or you get women that go in and be like, oh, I'll do a sexual favor for a tattoo. You never know what you're going to get into. Thankfully for me, my husband is very trustworthy. He's honest, and he's a professional. And that's something you want to find, a professional, not just someone that says they're a tattoo artist. And yeah. That can be messy.
The way that I hear it is that no matter what job we do, and now we're talking about tattoo artists, no matter what kind of a tattoo artist you are, what artwork you do, the way that you conduct the business will determine how far and how high you can scale your business, how much money you can earn.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you are one of those sleazy people that Bethany you were talking about, you're not gonna make as much. Mm-hmm. And chances are you might go into other sleazy parts of businesses in there, right? And then when you are operating at a standard where, almost like the way that I hear it, the professionalism is, if an actor, like a famous actor, wanted to get a tattoo, they will go to someone who has a certain level, certain standard of professionalism, right? And a certain reputation, and you build your reputation. Now the reputation. Now, the more you say the word, the more wrong it sounds.
Right? You're like, did I say that right? Yeah.
Yeah, reputation. So the more and that starts from day one. Mm-hmm. You build your reputation from day one, and you continue to become and work towards that person that you want to be as a business owner, that will attract a certain type of clientele. And you can charge literally whatever you want, because it will be geared towards a specific market, and you need to be in that standard. So those that are sleazy ones, right? Those of you that are thinking, I'm gonna go to a cheaper tattoo place where the sleazy people are going to be, because I can pretty much guarantee you they're not going to be charging the big bucks, right? Because they need a lot, they need to learn a lot in order to be able to charge, because people right away go, "Nah, I'm not paying that," right? Because energy speaks as well.
Right.
And then versus going to a reputable one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can find some like good artists though that don't charge a lot. It just really depends on the artist and like how much time they put into their craft and like what they've learned and how they are as a person, their personality and stuff. So just do my main thing is do your research. Find the artist. First find the tattoo that you want. Figure out the design you want.
Yeah.
Figure out like what you want your piece to look like, and then find the artist that's going to help you achieve that goal of getting that piece that you want the first time, instead of going to someone that's like, oh yeah, I can do that. They slap something on and then you're like, I don't like that. That was not what I wanted. And I say this because we actually have someone next week that's coming in for like a fix up, that she went to an artist like that, where they're like, all right, I'll tattoo you. They had the design and it looked nothing like what she wanted. And she even showed us the picture that it was supposed to be. And it was very different from the experience we were giving her to what they were dealing with. Because with us, we're very professional. You first start out in email. You're talking to me actually, where I get you scheduled for a consultation appointment. I send out a reminder for your consultation appointment. I send out a reminder for your tattoo appointment. So already from the beginning, you're seeing that there's professionalism there. And then when you go into the consultation, you see now the artist, you see how that person is. And for me, like seeing all the different type of tattoo artists and like seeing all the different shops that Brian's worked in, I really feel like the way we do things is one of the best ways. It's really going to help you really get what you want out of that tattoo experience. And I know I could be maybe a little biased because it is my shop with my husband, but seeing all these different kind of ways that like tattoo artists do things and hearing it from Brian and learning all this stuff, it's just, and getting feedback to where people are like, oh, I really like the way you do things. Like, it's very professional, like, and you're really nice. Thanks for starting the process like this. Cause I use my customer service skills for it. I treat you as you want to be treated. And that's what Brian does, treats you how you want to be treated during an experience. Cause there's sometimes you're going to get a tattoo in a spot. Let's say you want a chest piece. Well, the artist is going to be touching your breasts a little bit because you have to stretch the skin. And some artists will take that as a time to be sleazy, and some will be very professional about it. So you really want to research your artist once you figure out your design and all that stuff. I think that's the most important, is first figure out what you want and then find your artist. And if it takes time to shop around, that's okay, because that tattoo is going to be on you for the rest of your life. So if you're going into the shop and you're like, I'm not sure about it. And we've had this happen too, where we get someone in for a consult, they don't book right away because they want to shop around, but then they end up coming back to us, and we get feedback where like, everywhere else is, what do you want? There's no professionalism. There's no customer service skills behind it. You're not feeling important when you walk into that place.
Yeah. A lot of people, and a lot of business owners as well. Like I see this a lot with coaches and network marketers and consultants online and small business owners that have a product. I see this all the time, the lack of professionalism, where they start off a conversation with trying to sell something to you, whereas what you're describing in the shop, it's the same thing. They really just want to sell, what do you want? What do you want to buy from me? Right? It comes across as very unprofessional, instead of coming in and asking, how was your day? talking about the weather, right? Tell me about the tattoo you want. What ideas do you have? Let's, get excited.
Exactly.
And that's when the person leaves and they're like, it's the experience they're after. No matter what you're selling, people are after a memorable experience, a positive, memorable experience. Because by you saying, what do you want? Or here's, it clearly is like a copy and paste message
Yeah.
where buy my stuff, or check out my free product, go to my
Right.
group, and right away, what do you want? Here's what you want, right? Without even asking what you want. So I think maybe those tattoo artists you're talking about, they're more polite than these ones. This is what you need,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And it comes across very unprofessional. That is not how I conduct business, and this is not how I help and I teach coaches as well and network marketers and consultants how to, come across as a professional and not a sleazy salesman, because that
Yeah.
comes across as a very sleazy sales pitch. And no matter how amazing you come across on your social media, I automatically do not want to do business with you. And those
Exactly.
are for those of you that that watch these videos and have sent me these messages and I ignored them. I'll respond with letting you know that it's not okay, right? And let's have a normal human conversation, and then it just doesn't go usually, right? Because everybody just wants something from everybody, and they don't realize that we're not in. Whenever you're building a business, we're not building a business like the business is built on relationships. It's built on the relationships you build with everyone that you know, with everyone that you're in contact with, even if it was just for a little period of time. You've built a relationship, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to have a successful business, no matter the business, I don't care what you do, tattoo shop or online, right? Or
Right.
you create a product and you sell a product, whatever it is, it starts with the relationships that you have with everyone you know, including and especially with your friends and family. And
Right.
no matter what experience you have with any individual, if you can take away anything from, not the tattoo part, but more of a relationship part and the business part of how you can grow your business, if you're going to take anything away, is this: no matter how badly somebody might be treating you, treat them the way that you would want to be treated. And
Exactly.
do not burn any bridges, because you never know if you might have to cross that bridge one day. You never know when your paths will cross with people.
Mhm.
Always, always, always end it in the best way possible. And when I say, very often people confuse, especially the children, they confuse very often that, you know, you treat me this way, so you're telling me how you want to be treated, so I'm going to treat you the way you want to be treated. No, you treat people the way you want to be treated. So which means take a pause, and if you are um, feeling really down right now, a lot of people are going through this in the winter time, and it's been so cold that people even struggle to get outside. People, I mean the people that, if I'm going, for example, through a really rough time and I just want to cry and I'm really sad, I expect my partner to help me through that and to, talk to me in the way that would make me feel better, that would uplift me, which also means that he needs to learn what that looks like for me, what it's
Right.
like for me. That's what's challenging in the beginning of relationships, no matter the relationship that you have, whether it's a business or not business or friends or love relationships. You got to figure out what the other person wants. And when it comes to a business, you got to do it like this. A customer comes into your shop, they call you for a consultation. You got to figure out and be that chameleon to every person, because everyone is so different. And how do I not only help them, but also ultimately the goal is to convert them, but convert them without knowing that they're being converted into a client.
Right. And something else I wanted that kind of what you're saying right now is bringing up for me is creativity, and how, and are they, and like customizing. So like with the tattoo industry, is your artist making his own designs? Is he or she just going online picking something, or are you bringing something to them and they're just taking what you give them, and are you putting it on your body, or are you using your passion and your creativity and your curiosities to make this piece, this design for the client that's gonna wow them, that's different than what anyone else has? It's like when we talked about in the beginning, like when I got my tattoos, I wanted it different from anyone else. I didn't want it to be the same. And I feel like, with what you're talking about, just in any industry, with your business, like, are you being creative in it? Are you expressing your passions? Because if you're not, then your art, your creative, the stuff you're creating isn't going to be as custom, or as like, custom to you as a person. And that can go for everything, whether you're a writer, you're a coach, you're, selling products, like what's standing you out from someone else. And that's something that you'll want to look to when you're getting a tattoo. I feel like, are they doing custom pieces? But this could go towards everything in life, a mechanic even. Are they, like, I mean, I'm not sure how it's creative, but
for them would be like more school. Like, are they going to any extra schools? And are they doing the online courses? Because they should have access to online courses depending on what company they're with. Are they going for extra schooling because cars are not the same and they continue to change every year, right? What is the extent of their knowledge? Now with a mechanic, you might not have much of an option, but if you want a good one and you're in Ontario, Mississauga is where my husband works, then I would always, of course, recommend going to my husband, because I've never had an issue with any one of our cars. Like I said, he is like a magician of diagnosing. Like, okay, shh, guys, everyone, quiet. Do you hear that? No. And he's deaf in one ear pretty much because his work is really loud. Do you hear that? No.
But he's trained himself to see,
Right.
to
Do you feel that?
Yeah.
What? What do I feel? The car driving the road? But he's trained. It's like a surgeon. They're trained to go and understand how, use brain surgeon. They know what's where, right? And I know, like, what you're talking about, the creativity. How are they expressing their creativity? How are they using their own products as well? That's a huge one, because if, let's say, I'll use an example of a coach. If a coach is promoting this program that they have created or that they have access to from somebody else, the biggest question is, whatever is in that program that they're offering, are they utilizing themselves, right? And then finding ways of how you can get proof of that, right? And usually through social media, you can see if they are in their language, the things that they post to talk about, you can see if they are using it. So that's huge. And I know Brian also draws paintings. So that's how he expresses and expands his portfolio, I guess, in a way, and his artistry, I want to say.
Right. Yeah, because he'll do stuff digitally. He does stuff with painting. And I've noticed a lot of good tattoo artists are good artists in other aspects, not just in the tattooing. They're not, and also when they're like diversified in other art forms, that it's not just about money for that person as well. That it's about what they create for you, what they're going to put on your body. Yeah, their passions on what, and that's another good thing to like really see when you're choosing an artist, is like, are they just in it for the money? Or are they in it because they want to give you something that you're going to be proud of and it's going to be unique to you and you're going to be happy with for the rest of your life? I mean, hopefully you'd be happy with it for the rest of your life, but because we change, and sometimes we might not like something that we have. But for me, with all my tattoos, as I move my necklace, but I love all my tattoos, and I've had Brian be like, "Can we cover that one? Can we cover?" And I'll be like, "No, I like this one. I like it. Like, I don't want it to go anywhere. You could touch it up, maybe add some love to it, but I don't want it to be gone."
Yeah, because it holds memories, right?
Yeah,
It
exactly.
it has memories and a story to it, and probably a lot more. So as we're getting close to 3 o'clock now, Eastern time, I wanted to ask you basically two questions in one. The Because I know some people might be curious, because I would be curious as well. Like, I'd be curious to check out Brian's drawings, his artwork, and also see if it's sold, like where I can buy them, purchase them. And then the pigment pop that you were talking about. Do you guys sell Brian's artwork and pigment pop? And if so, where can people find them?
So for the pigment pop, we sell it at the shop, or we have a website for it, and you can buy it online, and then we ship it to you. With different artwork and designs for him, the best bet is to go to social media, or a website if there's a website for the artist. Oftentimes if they're trying to sell something, they're gonna put out there what they're doing. And a lot of the times, Brian will post like a drawing he just drew up or something, and it helps him on his artist side to keep those skills going. But a lot of the times with tattoo artists, you're gonna find it either in a portfolio, like at the tattoo shop, or you'll find it online with social media, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever they use, Facebook, or a website. Do they have a website you can go look at? And we have all of those, because it's really important. I mean, not just in the tattoo industry, but any industry where you're selling yourself as a person, to put it all out there for people to see and give them access to what you've created, so they can choose if you are the one for them for any kind of art design. And some tattoo artists aren't going to be artists where they have that kind of stuff up there. They might not be social media savvy where they have that stuff. And if that's the artist, you best bet is to go to the shop themselves, because sometimes they'll have more work at the business. With Brian, it's a little different. He posts a lot of stuff to social media, which has helped the business tremendously. And I definitely recommend doing that, because you're able to sell yourself, and then you also show people what you can do.
Yeah, and also for those people that are not that want to advertise and show themselves online on socials and don't know how, because a lot of us, we either don't have time or don't know how and don't want to learn. There are companies out there that you can hire that will do your monthly social media for you.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's one of the avenues that I'm considering exploring as well, as in like building a team of people that will be doing that. Just one of the income streams.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're not able to do it yourself, I think it's very important to hire someone to do it. And that's just goes like outside of the tattoo industry, for any industry. Like you're just stating, it's very important. Like, if you don't know how to do it, either learn or hire someone.
Yeah, because there is a lot of if you're not online, you're missing out on like more than 50% of the possible business you could have. It's a simple fact. The percentages might be even higher depending on where you are. But social media is huge. Everyone, when they have a question, for example, if you're searching for tattoo artists locally, if they don't have a website, if they don't have their portfolios online, if they don't have social media presence, and nowadays, especially younger kids, they're not gonna go to some Joe Blow shop that it doesn't have any online presence, because to them, that's proof of their success.
Yeah. And
right?
I will say from personal experience that we've gotten a lot of people to the tattoo shop from Google, having a website, having that social media where people are like, yeah, I've been following you for years. And it's like, oh, really? Wow, that's cool, you know? But yeah, for any industry, I feel like it's very important, especially when you're dealing with like a personable, like customer service type job where you're dealing with people, to have that presence online, because that's going to be that one thing that you can send anyone to and they're going to learn so much about you.
Yeah.
Can't think of the word I was looking for, but I hopefully you caught my gist. Like it's how you
yeah, because like even nowadays employers, before they go and hire an employee, before they say yes, they check their social media. Like
Right.
they go and they look through your social media. They've been doing this since social media since it has existed. More so, I'd say it started where all the businesses started doing it is in like 2014 and on.
Yeah.
Is social media really started to blow up around that time. Um, and this is where employers will go and check people out before they hire them. And yeah, so those people that had a beautiful resume, that were professional and great, they go to social media and they're like bashing other people, talking shit. Nope, nope, nope,
Yeah.
nope, you're out, right?
Yeah.
So some people had to learn the hard way, and some people, of course, they're like, oh, how dare you? But well, if it's available to the public,
Right.
if you want people to see what you're posting, make your profiles private.
Right. Yeah.
Lock your profile. That's it, right? And it's very simple to do. And then if you're growing your business, the worst thing you can do is lock your profiles. Like you need to be wide open so people can see, and everything you put out there needs to have the professional theme carried through everything that you do, right?
Yeah.
Everything that you do, everything how you show up, it needs to match because it's a brand. You are the brand, and that's why social media presence is incredibly important. And going forward, it will be that much more important. It's
Yeah.
not going anywhere.
It's something more, you know, and it shows the word I was looking for, transparency. You're being transparent to everyone. You're showing them who you are. And if the people, like you said, the resume that's, oh, perfect, and you're so professional at the appointment or, you know, your interview, but then the employer goes online and you're bashing people, like you're not being honest too, and integrity, it will show well. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you have the word integrity on your resume and then your social media is the opposite of that. It's like, what else did he or she lie about on this resume, right? And the moment that there is a little bit of hesitation and doubt, they'll be like, no, pass, pass. I've looked through a lot of resumes as well, having worked at the bank, and I was assistant manager of the bank. I've looked through some resumes, like I know that sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially seeing them in front of you and having the conversation. But anyways, so I feel like this is a great topic because it gave a little bit of a business sense as well, hopefully to some people. And those of you that maybe you yourself noticing that you need this for your business, have hiring a marketing company, or learning how to market yourself and put that out there, because you can do that yourself. Really, you spend maybe a day or two creating content and scheduling it for it to be posted automatically for you. But you got to take that time to create that content, and it's actually best to have this content created for 6 to 12 months ahead, right? So that way you know exactly what's happening, and it's just going and going and going, and it'll help you to stay focused on the line as well. A lot of people can't also do that either. It's like, oh my god, there's no way I can spend 2 days creating a year worth of content. No, you can't. But it's 2 days this week, 2 days next week, 2 days next week. You spend a month and you will create a whole year of content and then some, right? Who knows, maybe you'll find that this is what you're really passionate about, what you really like to do.
You never know.
Never know. Try it. So put yourself out there and do
Yeah.
it.
And I have a lovely affirmation that I would like to share that goes along the lines with this. So I am full of creativity and curiosity. Those help me find my passions.
I like you. And that's a lot of what we were talking about.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's like your curiosity and the exploration and the also the acceptance of, the failures that are going to come with that is what's going to lead you to your passion.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's just like we were talking about in the end here, marketing. You never know. Maybe you're passionate about marketing. That's what you want to do. Right.
No.
And if that's what you're passionate about, you'll guaranteed you'll figure out how you're going to make or earn the money that you want to earn. Because we don't make money. I'm all about the language as well. So I want to take the moment and let everyone know of this language that we all have, but we talk about making money. How much money do you make? Well, the response should always be zero, because you don't make the money, you earn the money. Because the only people that make the money are whoever the bank pays into to print the money. That's who's making the money. The printing machines are making it.
Exactly.
You are really just earning it or attracting it in. So switching the make to earn will, even just the simple language can help you to manifest more of the earnings. Being aware that you are the one earning it, and not making it. And that also means that you're deserving of it, right? Because you're earning it. I've earned it, as opposed to I make it, I made it, I survived.
Right. Yeah, that's such a good point. I'm glad you said that. That's a really good one.
Yeah, a lot of us, we don't realize that language has such a powerful meaning, and just by switching one word in the same sentence, it makes such a big difference, right? And since we're on the topic of money, just to wrap this up, those of you that are carrying a lot of debt, I want you to change the word debt to education fund.
That's a good point.
Because you spent your money and you've learned a lot of lessons. So your debt is not your debt, it is your education.
Yeah.
And when you look at it as an education fund, it is also easier and more like when you just thinking about a simple fact that you have to pay it. When you're paying into your education fund or you're paying off your education fund, knowing that you learned a shit ton of lessons, the energy that goes in with the actual payment is much brighter and lighter than as the one I'm paying off my debt. I have to. It's my responsibility, right? I have no choice. And it's heavy. It's like dead weight, right? As opposed to school, I learned a lot. I've experienced a lot, whatever you spend your money on, you got to learn a lot. You got to learn, let's say you bought something stupid and you're like, you wish you never did. You learn a lesson. Sometimes you buy stupid shit that you don't need, right? You can go return it or you can sell it. Sometimes you might get lucky and sell it for more, right? Whatever you want to take this piece of advice, whichever direction, go ahead and take it. But that's how we're going to close off, letting you hopefully have a new sense of awareness and new language on the one thing that so many people around the globe are incredibly stressed and worried and focused about and on. And many people are drowning in their debt now, but by shifting the focus a little bit and changing the words, for some of you, if some other way of looking at debt came up, I would love to hear what that is, so I can add it to my vocabulary when I share in conversations or on these videos, so we can all share our wisdom and knowledge and shifting the language to a different language that is positive.
No, that's going to help uplift and expand and grow and help you learn.
Exactly. A shit ton.
Yeah.
My favorite way to express myself. Get your shit together.
Right.
That's going to be one of the first things that, I will be helping people to do, just in a different way. I already have been doing that. It's going to be more like, put together nicely, and helping people get their shit together.
Yeah.
In different areas of life, right? Different parts. But other than that, thank you very much, Bethany. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening and contributing to this conversation on whichever platform you are on. Please subscribe or follow, which is going to be on YouTube and on all the other platforms. Show this video some love, and wherever you're watching this, share it with somebody else who might either want to get a tattoo or learn the lessons that were shared in here. But mainly it's about the tattoo and picking the right artist to do your art piece for you that is going to be on your canvas for the rest of your life, hopefully without you having to go and cover it up.
No, exactly. Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation. I'm glad I could share some knowledge. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing your knowledge. Until next week when you get to share your knowledge again.
Yes.
Okay. Bye. Bye, everybody. Much